So I grew up in a place called Whangaparāoa, named by one of our ancestors, Pauma Tangatanga, who named it after a Whangaparāoa he was from in Hawaii. Captain Cook also came through here and gave it a name called Cape Runaway. The story is Captain Cook came here and ended up in an altercation out there on the sea. And he said many of our people turned around on their waka and ran away, as he puts it. But our history is that he's the one that ran away. That's where I grew up, on this marae. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. My father was a teacher, also a farmer, and my mother ensured that we had a warm, safe, home. You rode horses, you spent a lot of time at the beach, long days at the river. I can tell you all the diving spots around here, but I won't. Your life is this community, is the land. So you're not from the land, you're of the land. You don't speak te reo, you are te reo. This is my great-great-grandmother. She's wearing facial moko kauai on the far wall there. I've got my great-great-grandmother on my father's side is also up there with moko. Up on the top there, Haimona, he also wore, but he was done by the old traditional way. I'm the first of our Waititi line to wear moko since that tipuna, so it's a 5 generations. Ko ngā tino akoranga I taku whakatipuranga mai i oku mātua tipuna. Taku kuia, te hau taku pāpā, he kahanoi I roto I te ao Pākehā. Engari ki tōna ngākau, ki tōna taha Māori. Tā ekara ki oku mā pakeke kei roto I ngā mātua o taku koha, o taku māma. Ko tō rātou au, ko te ao Māori. Ruku rātou I roto I ngā hohunutanga. O te ao Māori, ko rātou te tauira o te rātua ahuatanga. E ahua, I tino tō rātou mōi ki te kōrero Pākehā. Koe na hoki I tino me pehea ko rātou te haka o taku tino Māori. Māori tanga, taku reo Māori, taku whakaaro Māori kei roto nā rāuatai. Hei, kia ora te!
Rawiri, kei te hake koe?
Kei te whai. I think I was a bit of a hianga. Which is a bit of a mischief or a bit of a play-up fella when I was at school. There's an aunt here, her boy and I used to play up a little bit and quite often get a bit of a discipline. And one time we thought we might go and burn that stick, and we put it into the incinerator. So we were on rubbish that afternoon, and we went to burn it, and we thought that's we fixed that up. And so when we came the next day, the principal was standing there with the stick. It was all charred black, but it didn't burn. It just stayed sticky. Being schooled in the 80s, I think was a fabulous time. Remember that book? Not only did you have the classroom work, but this school involved teaching us how to go white baiting, teaching us how to eel, teaching us how to fish, teaching us how to cook, teaching us how to look after each other. There was no high school, college here then, and we all shipped off to town. Oh, there was a huge transition. So I went from a school that only had 30 of us in the whole school, and I went to a school that had 1,200 kids in it, and there was probably 30 plus of us in a classroom from all ethnicities. And so that was my first introduction to many other cultures. I went to Rutherford High School. I think the only downfall of going to Rutherford High School was that Simon Bridges also went to that school. Just having you on, Simon. Having you on. Back then it was hard to be proud of who you are. We had every newspaper, every news bulletin we turned on. Māori were just, we were the scum of the earth, to be quite honest. I had Māori mates I thought were Pacific Islanders, because it was better to be that than to be us. And very lucky to be quite honest, because Te Atatū itself, as a community, had pulled itself together to ensure that there was still that Māori worldview on things. So I met my wife actually in Te Atatū at Rutherford High School, and so our families, actually we all lived on the same street. My auntie living in Te Atatū, right next to her was John Tamihere, that's my wife's father, and their whānau. So, and just up the road you had Tauhenare, and then Tuku Morgan. So we're actually quite proud of that particular street, because we've had 4 Māori MPs come off there. It's the little street that could. Then we got married and started to have my babies. And I thought, geez, actually, do I want to bring my kids up here in Auckland? No, I don't. And so it was a lot of discussion and wānanga between my wife and I. and we decided to come back home. Well, she's still my campaign manager of Doom, and also works in the leader's office. To have my wife by my side in terms of this mahi means that we're walking this journey together. My father was involved in everything, and so politics wasn't too far away from any discussion around our dinner table. Also, when I went to move with my auntie in Te Atatu, she was a political beast in herself. We used to get calls, to her home, and it would be Jenny Shipley or Helen Clark wanting to get her advice. I'm sorry, but politics in Wellington got nothing on the politics here in this place. They can argue for an hour over tea towels or sheets. I think my greatest politicians have been the ones that have come off this marae, my aunties, my uncles, my elders, to show that they can navigate through issues, but also find the best way for everybody to thrive. Ko taku tino hia I roto I ngā mahi tō rangapū nei. Kia whiwhi ai te iwi Māori I tōna mana motu hake. Ko tōna mana motu hake e kia nei, mā Māori anoa Māori e kōrero, mā Māori anoa Māori e rangatira, mā Māori anoa Māori e whakatūngia I tōna ke whare, hei oranga mōnake. Kia kauaka tētahi e kia nei, ko koe kairaro, ko au kairunga. En koena hoki te kōrero, kei te pirangi mate kia mana ori te tātou, kia kauaka a Māori e noho ki raro, ko tauiwi ki runga.